Hello, good morning. 17th of August 2020. Video about protection and indemnity clubs, PNIs. Disruption in PNIs. Why? Because the concept of ship owner, it is very dubious. Let's say that, for example, in French, it's called armateur. In Spanish, it's called armador. And what does this armateur means? It means builder and the person that builds. And so this is the concept. Whilst in the UK it's called ship owner, and it is a bit of a conflict. Then we also have many other definitions like navy, naviero, yes, and yes, many definitions. The question is that the protection and indemnity clubs are an association for ship owners, because the word ship owner is not the same as in French or in Spanish, and therefore there is a conflict here. Now, why would P&Is not make a special insurance for the crew manager or the employer? Because disruption is here, and that person that really is in charge of building the ship, and that person historically was building the ship by employing captain, chief engineer, second engineer, chief officer, bosun, cook, AD, because with no crew there was no ship. So this is the concept of the French and the Spanish armateur, and this is armador. And if you build the crew or you build the ship, this is the concept. Now, P&Is, protection and indemnity clubs, have to disrupt. Why? Because the employer needs insurance for the COVID. The employer needs health prevention. Why? Because if P&I could really look after the intrinsic compound value of the owners that represent P&Is, then out of which there is not any crew management companies yet, then if we prevented this health, of course, the ships would never be stopped, and there will be much fewer cases of coronavirus on board the ships. And the education and the training for the families and those like us that are keeping social contact at zero, or at least just for basic office work, and then go home and then perhaps do some sport, and that's it, and then look after the kids so that they have education. So I believe the protection and indemnity clubs have to disrupt today, and they have to take advantage of this situation, because perhaps there is other sectors that protection and indemnity clubs can get into. For example, sure, there is 1 billion small and medium companies, and I do not know why the shore companies take advantage of the sea experience companies like protection and indemnity clubs. I believe that the protection and indemnity clubs have done a huge society, corporate social responsibility job throughout history, because that they have adapted to the requirements of the clients. And so this is so important, assure that, for example, small and medium companies need protection and indemnity. How? Well, let me explain to you before you contract me as a board advisor. Um, yes, let's go for point number one, civil responsibility. With coronavirus, we are not seeing much civil responsibility cases. Perhaps in the cruise, we have had some cases of some clients having illnesses, and there has been some settlements uh, We also have in Filipinas the garnishment situation, fraud invoices of illnesses and ambulances and the justice system. For example, then we have the civil responsibility, as I mentioned, point number one. Point number two, protection and indemnity clubs can write some kind of code of ethics or policy, code of conduct for the justice. Justice in each country is completely different regarding how to view the shipping and what sentences and what process and what arbitration and what cost and how it can really shorten the processes of demands. Perhaps the show can learn out of us like they have always done. If they do it fast enough before most of the small and medium companies in the world will close about 25% in 4 months. So protection and indemnity clubs can enter into the civil responsibility insurance, into the health prevention of small and medium companies. They can improve the insurance for the crew management companies, and also in the health prevention they can write a code of ethics and a code of conduct so that they can enter into the health prevention, because we are paying each small and medium company about 1,000 euros per year for about 5 workers, 10 workers. And so if one ship is, if there is 60,000 ships, then it is very interesting. Then in the fourth point, they can do also strategic agreements with the very nice software providers, like we have in shipping. We have plenty online training health prevention companies that can adjust to training these coronavirus and to insurance, as I mentioned, civil responsibility, for example, and many other type of insurances. Even death insurance, well, death insurance for me, so my family is safe, and the families of 1 billion small and medium companies in the world, and everybody can be safe and happy and at a nice cost and reduced taxes. So there is plenty areas that protection indemnity clubs can get into that the show is now doing, and it is a pity that by concept of ship owner, not just expanding a little bit to ship owner plus, for example, Ahmader or Armador, or the person that builds the crew and therefore employs the crew and does the payroll and blah blah blah, and is responsible for the health of the crew, and prevention is the most important. And if this was the case, then shore can be attacked. And I believe that the protection indemnity clubs, like I mentioned before, with the class societies, more digital, and the flags, for example, and I will make a video about the labor unions, cost and cover, and transparency, and the Maritime Labour Convention, and there is plenty different suppliers in shipping today. As we are going to stay here for longer than the rest, perhaps we have to start disrupting a little bit the market ourselves, because we do know the market much better, and we have been tides, up and downs, and low pressures and high pressures and moons, and so we can manage much better this the show people, because we have the experience, and already we are a digital community, and we are already here going to survive and to support new ideas to disrupt the market in the shipping, but taking care also that we are working from shore, some of us, so why not take the shore of the whole world and get some insurance done very competitive nowadays, and stop listening how shore teaches us what to do whilst we are going to stay here and we have the stability and the logistics. It is really a key element in the ant world. It is the last element to survive. So let's be the first to make the step. PNI, please. Looking forward to listening to this raption in our sea, and then we go to the shore. Thank you. Goodbye.